In many cases, discipline is what bridges the gap when motivation temporarily fades. Discipline is the ability to act according to our commitments rather than our moods. Over time, habits built through discipline make motivation easier because action becomes automatic rather than effortful. One of the most interesting aspects of the psychology of motivation is the concept of dopamine, the brain's reward chemical. Dopamine is released when we anticipate a reward, not just when we receive it. This anticipation drives us to act. For example, the thought of completing a project or achieving a fitness goal can trigger dopamine, which pushes us to take steps toward it. But here lies a problem. In today's world, we are surrounded by artificial dopamine sources, social media likes, junk food, video games, endless entertainment that hijack our motivational system. These quick bursts of dopamine can make us less motivated to pursue long-term, meaningful goals because the brain gets used to easy, instant rewards. To stay driven in life, it becomes essential to regulate these distractions and consciously direct our dopamine toward meaningful pursuits. Another psychological element that influences motivation is mindset. Psychologist Carol Dweck introduced the idea of fixed versus growth mindsets. People with a fixed mindset believe their abilities are limited and unchangeable, while those with a growth mindset believe they can develop through effort and learning. A growth mindset fuels motivation because it allows people to see challenges as opportunities rather than threats. If you believe you can improve, you are more likely to put in effort, and that effort reinforces progress, creating a positive cycle of motivation. On the other hand, if you believe your abilities are fixed, failure becomes a dead end and motivation quickly dies. Motivation is also deeply tied to our identity. We are most consistent with the kind of person we believe ourselves to be. If someone believes, I am a healthy and disciplined person, they are more likely to act in line with that identity by exercising and eating well. But if someone believes, I am lazy and undisciplined, they will act according to that belief, even if they want to change. Identity-based motivation is powerful because it goes deeper than surface-level goals. Instead of focusing only on what we want to achieve, we align with who we want to become. When our sense of self is tied to meaningful values, motivation becomes much stronger and more sustainable. Staying motivated also requires managing our environment. The people we surround ourselves with, the spaces we live in, and the habits we build all shape our motivation. A cluttered, distracting environment makes it harder to stay focused, while a clean, organized space makes it easier to act. Similarly, surrounding ourselves with supportive, driven individuals elevates our own drive, while spending time with negative, unmotivated people can drain us. Humans are social creatures, and motivation spreads through social influence. This is why accountability partners, mentors, and communities can dramatically boost our ability to stay consistent. At the same time, it is important to understand the role of setbacks. No journey of motivation is free from failure. In fact, failure is not the opposite of motivation. It is part of the process. How we interpret setbacks determines whether we stay motivated or give up. People who see failure as proof of inadequacy often lose drive, while those who see failure as feedback use it to adjust and continue. Resilience, therefore, becomes an essential companion to motivation. The more resilient we are, the more likely we are to recover from challenges and keep going. Another dimension of motivation is purpose. Viktor Frankl, a psychiatrist and Holocaust survivor, wrote in his book Man's Search for Meaning that those who had a strong sense of purpose were more likely to survive the horrors of concentration camps. Purpose gives life meaning beyond comfort or pleasure. It is a powerful motivator because it taps into something bigger than ourselves. When people have a way they can endure almost any how, whether it is family, contribution, creativity, service, or faith, a strong sense of purpose sustains motivation during the darkest times. As we grow in life, motivation also changes. What motivated us in childhood may not be the same as what motivates us in adulthood. For children, motivation is often driven by curiosity and play. For adults, it may shift toward security, achievement, or legacy, and legacy. Understanding these shifts helps us realign our goals with our current stage of life. Otherwise, we may find ourselves chasing outdated goals that no longer bring meaning. Practical strategies for staying motivated include breaking down big goals into small, manageable steps. The human brain loves progress, and even small wins release dopamine, which keeps motivation alive. Celebrating progress, no matter how small, creates momentum. Visualization is another tool. When people vividly imagine themselves achieving their goals, their brain creates neural patterns similar to real practice, which makes the goal feel more achievable. Affirmations and positive self-talk can also reinforce motivation by countering self-doubt. Rest and recovery are equally important. Many people think motivation means constant hustle, but burnout is the enemy of long-term drive. The brain and body need balance, rest, and joy to sustain energy. Motivation thrives in cycles, not in endless pushing. This is why elite athletes train with periods of intense effort followed by rest. The same principle applies to everyday life. Without recovery, motivation eventually collapses. Ultimately, motivation is not a magical feeling that appears randomly. It is a psychological process that can be understood, cultivated, and directed. By nurturing intrinsic motivation, setting meaningful goals, adopting a growth mindset, aligning with identity, managing environments, embracing resilience, and connecting with purpose, anyone can learn to stay driven in life. Motivation is not about waiting for inspiration. It is about building a system where progress is inevitable.